The internet is buzzing with lots of thoughts and emotions as a result of the new campaign launched by retailer American Eagle featuring actress Sydney Sweeney. While there are definitely some consumers who love the campaign, the backlash from the campaign is what is dominating the narrative. Now, there are several complaints with this campaign overall. Some consumers are troubled that an ad marketing women's jeans has a sexual tone that seems to be targeted for the straight male gaze. Another issue is that there seems to be a disconnect between the tone and style of the campaign and the cause that the campaign is supporting. A butterfly motif appears on the back pocket of the Sydney jean, representing domestic violence awareness, a cause Sweeney is passionate about. In addition, 100% of the proceeds of the sales of this Sydney jean with the butterfly on it will be donated to Crisis Text Line, a nonprofit offering 24-hour mental health support to anyone who needs it. However, the sexual nature of the ads in the campaign appear at odds with the community the brand is aiming to align with and support. Yet, by far, the biggest controversy of this campaign comes from the messaging that many consumers feel is rooted in white supremacy. The text of the primary ad features a play on the words jeans and jeans, which for many feels like this campaign is about a whole lot more than just selling jeans.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has her jeans.
Later, in a different ad from the campaign, a Sydney lookalike crosses out the word jeans and writes jeans. Now, many critics of the ad feel that because of the play on words and usage of the word jeans, that it's implying that the type of jeans that Sydney Sweeney has are great, superior, and preferred to other types of jeans that aren't the ones that Sydney has. Basically, it seems like what they're saying, if you're thin, white, blonde-haired, and blue eyes, you have great jeans. On one Reddit thread about this campaign, and there are several, and they all have hundreds and hundreds of comments on them, one person wrote, "I mean, it is a direct homage to a pretty vile Calvin Klein ad that sexualized a 14-year-old Brooke Shields. But the main reason people don't like the ad is it has some pretty nasty racial implications. Are either of these Sweeney's fault? No. But I can think the ad was in poor taste and blame the idiot marketing team." Another person wrote, "It's a bad look for a classically attractive, blue-eyed, blonde-haired woman to brag about how she has good genes, and good genes implies the existence of bad genes." On TikTok, commenters were even more pointed with their negative responses. One person wrote, "Nobody is getting their pants from their parents. This is a direct eugenics ad. As in your face as you could get." Another commenter added, "I'm trying to work out whether or not the sexism is more prominent or the white supremacy. Genuinely, who let this happen?" Now, as marketers around the world are watching as this backlash unfolds, here are some important lessons from this saga that will help you improve your effectiveness as a marketer. First up is to embrace this golden rule of marketing. Inclusive marketing is all about acknowledging the many ways consumers are different, intentionally choosing which of those identities your brand will serve, and then intentionally infusing those identities throughout all parts of your marketing mix. Based upon the ads in the campaign, it does not appear that American Eagle is practicing inclusive marketing, and that is totally the brand's right to do so. No brand has an obligation to serve every identity. Like inclusive marketing, smart customer acquisition also requires a brand to be judicious about choosing which customers you will serve. Now, from this Sydney Sweeney campaign, it seems very clear that American Eagle did choose who their ideal customer is, and that is white men and white women. And honestly, if you were to look at the imagery on the American Eagle website, it's true and in keeping to what they've been doing. As I mentioned, brands have every right to choose who they want to serve, but they also need to be prepared for the reactions of people who are excluded from who the brand wants to serve, whether that's intentional or not. While American Eagle may win some new customers with this campaign, campaign, they are also losing a lot of customers. In response to some of the posts with the new campaign on Instagram, one consumer shared, "My AE order just arrived today. I'm heading to the store tomorrow to return the whole thing. This campaign is abhorrent." Another wrote, "Y'all were my fave place to buy jeans. Won't be shopping here anymore." And another commented, "I've been wearing nothing but AE jeans for 15 plus years, but this campaign is so off, I'll find other jeans to wear now." So here's the key lesson for you. Choose which identities you want to feel like they belong with your brand. Then also accept that consumers that you're choosing not to focus on may decide to spend their money elsewhere. And of course, stand by your choice. Own the decisions that you have made. All right, so the second lesson that comes from this whole saga is all about using your power for good. Marketing has so much more power than just getting consumers to buy your product. Marketing also has the power to greatly influence the way people feel about themselves and the ways in which they view other people. A few years back, Unilever recognized that power and decided to remove the word normal from all packaging and campaigns for all their beauty and personal care products. The brand realized after some extensive research that people who needed products that weren't labeled normal were negatively impacted by their buying experience. So if you are someone who's looking at this American Eagle campaign and you don't have the gene traits that are like Sydney Sweeney's, that could negatively impact the way you feel about yourself. Along those same lines, calling specific gene traits as good genes could also cause consumers to look at other people who don't have those gene traits in a lesser light. So here's the key lesson for you. Marketing doesn't exist in a vacuum. The messages that you communicate both directly and indirectly have so much more power that goes beyond just the ways in which people are thinking about and how they are engaging with your products. Responsible marketing supports your brand's growth. So go ahead and lean on into it. All right, the third lesson from this American Eagle Sydney Sweeney saga is to remember that intent is not the marker for success. We do not know the intentions of the American Eagle while they were making this campaign. I did reach out to a spokesperson from American Eagle to get their point of view, but I have not heard back from them as of yet. We do know from a post from Ashley Shapiro, American Eagle's Vice President Marketing, Media, Performance, and Engagement, that the campaign did have a double meaning behind it. In a linked post celebrating the team's efforts for what they created and giving a peek into the creative process and decisions, Shapiro wrote, "The star power of Sydney and the double meaning behind the campaign has a culture-shaping power beyond anything I could have ever imagined being a part of. Just check your social feeds." We most likely will never know what the intent was of that double meaning that was referenced unless American Eagle decides to tell us. Generally, whenever campaigns have this level of backlash, an official apology will come from the brand, which often includes this sentiment: "Our intention was not to offend." Whether or not that happens in this case from American Eagle, it is important to remember that intention is never your marker for success. How the campaign is received by others, and in particular by your ideal customers, is what matters most. That's what you should be judging the effectiveness of your campaign by. And while there are many who love and appreciate the campaign just the way it is, there are others who hate it and very much feel like the campaign caused harm. So you need to be aware of any harm that you are causing as well, and hopefully you won't want to cause harm, but you need to be considering that in your process and as part of your effectiveness as well. Here's the key takeaway for you. Focus on impact, not your intentions. If what you produce doesn't land the way you intend, then you know that there is opportunity for improvement. All right, so the fourth lesson to learn from this whole American Eagle Sydney Sweeney campaign saga is to not guess about how your campaign will be received. Now, we also do not know whether or not American Eagle tested this campaign with consumers prior to it going live. With such a massive investment that they did make in the campaign, hopefully they did do some testing. However, most of the controversy of the campaign is very much centered around the controversy surrounding it. And there are lots of questions swirling around about how a brand could produce a campaign that would garner such a strong negative reaction from so many people. Smart marketers don't leave the success of campaigns that they are heavily investing into, they don't leave it up to chance. Good marketers take the time to not only get feedback from a broad diversity of the ideal customers that they are trying to reach, but they also take the time to understand how those campaigns will be received on the whole, even outside of their ideal customer base. If the intention of the campaign was not to offend, then included in the entire production process from start to finish should have been voices who were well equipped to provide culturally intelligent insights and points of view, or at the very least give those opportunity to weigh in on how they feel the campaign might be perceived once it's live. So here's the key takeaway for you. Include people who have the identities of the people that you are trying to reach into the creative process from start to finish. It is best practice to test your campaigns with your intended audience before you're launching it. All right, so the last lesson learned from this whole saga is all about that responses to crisis situations should be thoughtful rather than rushed. In the midst of all the backlash around the Sydney Sweeney campaign, American Eagle published a post on Instagram showcasing a racially ambiguous model wearing a pair of jeans with the caption, "Denim on denim on denim on denim. AE has great jeans." Now, it is unclear on whether or not the brand posted this image to make it appear as if the model who was included was a part of the original Good Jeans campaign. But for many people, the move just feels rushed, and like the brand is just trying to cover its tracks, given the accusations about race with the core of its campaign. To make matters even more confusing, the caption features lyrics from a Beyonce song titled Levi's Jeans. The entertainer currently has a campaign with American Eagle's competitor, Levi's. One consumer responded and is referring to the racially ambiguous model, not Beyonce. Does she have great jeans like Sydney Sweeney too, or is this just damage control? Another person wrote, "This move was actually worse. It looks like an afterthought, putting a band-aid on a gushing wound." All right, so here's the takeaway for you. Don't respond to a crisis with hasty moves. You might just make this situation worse, especially if your response feels inauthentic. Also, the use, or I probably should say overuse, of racially ambiguous models in talent does not have the impact often that brands think that it does. Instead of making more people from underrepresented and underserved communities feel seen, those particular consumers don't see themselves represented at all, and it just leaves them feeling frustrated, which of course isn't what you want. All right, I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on this American Eagle Sydney Sweeney campaign? Also, do you have any additional lessons learned from this whole thing? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Also, if you're interested in how to be more responsible with your marketing, do check out this video here. It'll give you lots of great information to get you started. Until next time, remember, everyone deserves to have a place where they belong. Let's use our individual and collective power to ensure more people feel like they do. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you soon.